Okay, welcome everybody to Wall Street Reporter's next Super Stock, a live stream for September 24th. We are back with ESE Entertainment, ENTEF over the counter, ESE on the TSX. Conrad Vasella. Conrad, welcome back.
I'm back again. You must have missed me.
Well, yeah, especially now that you have some impressive numbers starting to come out. There's a lot of interest. And again, for anybody that's watching this video later on YouTube, months later, our goal is to bring you those stocks which have that 10x to 100x upside potential. So these are companies which are going after three things. One, massive multi-billion-dollar market opportunities. They have multiple catalysts in place to ignite shareholder value, and they're at a key inflection point right now in their growth. So Conrad, we've had 7, 10 baggers, 18 months. Actually, ESE, it was up 14x from when we introduced it. I think you came on at 27 or 30 cents or so. The stock went to 4 and change very quickly. It might have gotten a little bit ahead of itself because it only took 4 months. From 10x in 4 months, it's a little quick, right? But now the stock, we've built a little 6 months later. I think it's come into its own. We've built a nice base. We're at $1 right now, $1.20, I think. So here is the important thing. So right now, it's very interesting. You just came out with some impressive quarterly. You delivered some tremendous quarterly results yesterday. We're going to get into the details, but from the top, you did for the quarter ending July 30th. This is 2 months ago. You did 4.23 million revenues. 4.23 million, which is almost a 500% increase from the last quarter.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're going to go into the details of these numbers, but this is pretty impressive because essentially what this means is right now you're running at, so you did 4.2 million. You're running at about a 17, 18 million run rate. And does this include the new acquisition of Digital Motorsports? This doesn't include that, right?
Look at the smile on my face. Guys, shareholders, you have to understand that this does not include Digital Motorsports at all. So we just closed Digital Motorsports. Historical revenues, their current run rate is about 4 to 6 million Canadian. We're very confident that we could probably accelerate that, but that's their current internal run rate. So, you could do the math on that. In addition to that, we've had a tremendous last month and a half. We have about a month and a half left. We anticipate significant growth again for the quarter. And we're really scaling. We've hit our stride. We're scaling. Numbers speak for themselves. Obviously, you guys saw them. This is real. We're getting there brick by brick. I've been telling the whole team over the past couple months, we're going to get there. We're scaling globally and we're scaling fast.
So right now, if we include Digital Motorsports, which you just closed, a couple of weeks ago, you're going to be at roughly 22, 23 million run rate approximately, if we include that. And that doesn't include, any internal growth because those numbers are from July 3rd. That's old news. There's a lot of stuff that's been happening. Yeah. So, okay. So it's a 4. Okay. So let's just say I'll throw out 25 million just to make it round things up. I'm a little bit optimistic, but whatever. So let's say you're at 25 million run rate today. So just for context, 2 important things, 2 key data points. You're trading at right now, the valuation of the company is, what is it, 80 million? I think you're only at, no, is it 80 million approximately?
Yeah.
You're trading at less than 4 times.
Around, yeah.
Yeah, so you're trading at essentially 4 times the run rate, which is really cheap compared, for the space.
Yeah, I encourage everyone to go look at all the esports companies that are listed. Go look at their quarterly financials. Go look at their market caps. They're all 150 all the way up to $1 billion. And in some cases, they have 0 revenue. So absolutely 0. And some of them have a few 100,000. But we just did 4.23 million Canadian for the quarter. and that was last quarter. And we have more news and more growth coming from the business.
So okay, so right now let's say okay, so the run rate is 25 million right now, approximately. I'm throwing, you're trading at 3 to 4 times that, which is again, so that gives you intrinsically the stock could be trading at 2 times that because the market's paying 10 times for high growth, high like esports space. Very also we should also add that in the esports space, there's more companies coming out now. In Canada, there's more. In the CSE, there's more guys. But how many of them actually have revenues, have real substantive, right? So, but it tells me 2 things. It's a positive because there's going to be more eyeballs coming on the esports space. They haven't been. Esports is still a relatively new sector. Market. It's like a theme. As a theme, it's really brand new. It's not like developed yet. So there's a lot more upside to go before people catch on.
Yeah, I think it's important also to highlight the fact that the industry, by and large, is growing at 25% year over year. Okay, so that's organic growth as an industry. So,
it's a deal. Somebody wants to do a deal with you, Conrad. Pick it up.
I mean, yeah. And guess what? It's 6:30, and I would have picked that up, but
that's right. You're in where are you? You're in Germany.
I'm in Europe.
Okay. So
I'm in Europe.
So the show last time we caught up with you on Friday, it was Friday morning, and I think not a lot of people came live because it was like 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it was a little bit earlier. Yeah,
in the Eastern. How did the show work out, by the way? For the Motorsports in Nürburgring.
Zero exaggeration. It was unbelievable. The energy and the buzz that we brought as a group, our team internally is extremely motivated. They saw new opportunities. We brought new opportunities. We signed contracts. You'll be seeing news come out in the coming weeks. It was an international event, and it's exactly in line with our strategy. We want to start locking in multi-year contracts to create stability for revenue and future revenue growth. And that was the place to do it. I mean, we set up opportunities for not only this year, but for 2022, 2023, 2024. Our strategy internally is razor sharp. We want to go 3 to 5 year long-term contracts with stability and big numbers and increased margins. We've been working on that, and now they're coming in. And that's why you've seen those strong numbers, because the consistency is coming in now. We're hitting our stride, and the growth is there. Okay,
so what? So I want to get into. We're going to talk about again. One of the things that you said early on, again, when you came on our platform, I think you said that at that time you were only doing $1 million a run rate. It was really ground floor. The stock was at the ground floor, and you said, look, shortly thereafter, you said, look, my goal is to do 100 million run rate this year, hit 100 million through acquisitions, through like this kind of roll-up strategy in the esports space. You see a lot of opportunities, kind of a little bit very similar to, what Enthusiast Gaming, EGLX, to what they're doing, but their focus is a little bit more on the kind of the media side, the kind of YouTube channel, stuff like that, communities. You're kind of focused more on, the infrastructure, more other aspects of it. But very similar model, and that it's done well for them. I mean, that stock is recently trading at what, $1 billion market cap recently, right? Similar, very similar things going on.
They went up to as high as $11, I believe, and they uplisted to the NASDAQ. They've done tremendously well, $1 billion plus market cap. They showed the market, quite frankly, how big it is, and that $1 billion plus is actually very real and realistic for us. You mentioned the $100 million pipeline. That pipeline is actually growing. I would like to say it's 100 million plus. We have some really, really interesting things in the pipeline, and I'm very confident to say that.
Now, one thing is, when you first came on, you said, "Hey, the goal is to exit 2021 100. We have 100 million acquisitions in the pipeline." And here's the thing: we have a lot of people who say things, in the microcap space, with Penny. people say a lot of things, right? But you've been delivering. You've delivered on the acquisitions. We've seen already, what is it, 3 acquisitions? Now you started with, you went from $1 million run rate to 25 million run rate, essentially. Now you're at a 25 million run rate. You were at $1 million, $2 million. So essentially, you're up 10x in terms of that. You've done the acquisitions. Now, the question is, can you close? You know, we're already in almost October. Are you going to get to 100 million? Are you going to close enough deals to get to the 100 million by December, end of December? Can you get there?
Let me ask the viewers this question. What do you think is easier, getting from 1 million to 25 million run rate, or from 25 million to 100 million? I'm almost there.
Point. That's a very good point.
There. So bet on me. We're going to get there. Is it going to happen December 31st? I can't promise that. Am I going to do another acquisition before the end of the year? I really hope so. I'm going to be on the lawyer's ass to get it done, because that's the path we're taking. I would love to do 1 more, possibly 2 more even this year. I mean, that's the way I'm wired. I can't control legal. I can't control the Toronto Stock Exchange. You know, their processes, how fast they work. But I have the pipeline. I'm ready to rock. So I'm very confident to say we're going to get there. It's just a matter of time. So be patient. I'll continue to deliver. I have been delivering from the beginning. So I've said it a million times.
It's a key point, right? It's listen, the thing is, bottom line is, you know, originally you were supposed to, you know, I think you were originally scheduled to come on next Thursday, but I said, look, Conrad, you got these tremendous numbers that came out. It's important to get you on, because, you know, look, it's very rare in the microcap world where somebody says they're going to do something and they actually deliver it, and it's on track. So in other words, I think the takeaway as of this moment is that, you know, essentially this 100 million, we're assuming it's going to happen because so far you've done it. So if you get to 100 million, that's going to be $1 billion plus valuation potentially. Okay, let's just say it's 500 million. Let's say the market is only going to value at 5x revenues, right? So 500 million is still, you know, $5 from, it's basically a $5 stock price from here, plus. Okay, let's, you know what? I want to dive into some questions. We've got some audience questions. We've got some questions, accounting questions, some, you know, I think this stuff is a little bit boring, but let's address it. Let's talk about, okay. One thing we should talk about is so besides the increase in revenues, again, your revenues, 4.23 million for the quarter, increase of almost 500%. There was a loss. The loss basically narrowed. You dropped it, decreased by half. I mean, the loss narrowed from 3.8, I think, to 1.2. My number is correct? To 1. Yeah. So my question is, before we get to these, is when are you going to get to break even, and when are we going to turn the corner to profitability? Although the market, these are very small, so I don't think the market really cares about it, but people are going to ask, when are you going to turn that corner?
Yeah, I think it was an important part of building this company, specifically in the esports sector. People have been burning a tremendous amount of cash. If you look at other groups' balance sheets, they're very good at burning cash. We wanted to be the polar opposite. We really focused on 2022 as a target year to get close to that break-even, potentially even profitable opportunity. So that's the goal internally. We're constantly fighting for increased margins, profitability. We're hyper-focused on that. But you also have to remember, we're reinvesting into the business. We're in a hyper-growth phase. You saw the numbers. So like I said, a little bit of patience is needed here because we're going to really drive new opportunities and enter into new markets. So sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get that done.
Okay. So let's go into some audience questions. So he's asking, what are your margin goals?
So from day one, internally, we've set a goal of 30+%. I know that seems high, but as you know, with all these interviews, I like to set the bar high internally. So 30% plus has always been our goal. And now we're getting into a rhythm where we're really starting to see those numbers come through. And, you know, you look at groups like Digital Motorsports, the acquisition, they have tremendous margins, in some cases even higher than that, 40 to 50%. So we're really going to focus on that 30% plus number as a whole, overall across the board. But, ideally, we want to continue to increase those margins. As I said, we're very optimistic and bullish with what we're doing, and we think we can accomplish that.
Okay. He's interested in understanding expected cash flow. I don't know. Is there a specific question, or you want to talk about cash? I mean, I'm not sure if I understand completely the question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing he's asking, how much capital do we still have in the till? It's public knowledge. We raised 8.6 million. Yeah, right there. So it's public knowledge. We raised 8.6 million. We put it out in the report that 9.17 million as a cash flow. So I think that answers the question pretty clearly.
Okay, so you have so there's still plenty of cash on hand.
Correct.
To do deals and everything else. Okay.
Yes, because if you look at the acquisition of Digital Motorsports, it was heavily weighted on shares, which is another sign that Digital Motorsports believes in what I'm doing, and I believe in what they're doing, and they were comfortable with taking shares because they saw the opportunity. Niall had the opportunity to come on the show the other day, and he's absolutely fired up. I mean, if you can't feel his energy, you're following the wrong story, man, because we're
Niall, for anybody to Niall, he's the CEO of Digital Motorsports. He's
correct.
Okay. Let's get to a couple of questions. Okay, so follow-up question. Congrats on a good quarter. Has production begun on Bitcoin Vault contract? Is the revenue from that contract upfront? Is that upfront? And Conor, you want to talk about this is the esports show, right? This is the give us some of the details on that.
So this is the esports talent show that we rolled out in several different countries. So it was Brazil, China, Vietnam, and Korea. We still have to launch the Brazilian market, and that's going to be coming up in the next 30 to 60 days. Ironically, we anticipate the Brazilian market to be the most receptive to this. We have a really great opportunity with some massive influencers in that region. So I think it's going to be a big success. And as it pertains to asking the question, is the cash up front? No, it's booked throughout the longevity of that contract and executing on entering into those different regions.
Okay. Okay, so Conor, let's talk about the acquisitions. You've picked up a couple different businesses. Let's talk about two things. One is, what are you doing in terms of to drive some synergies, to integrate these to get synergy? Is there organic growth? It's important for people to understand that this is not just just a bunch of roll-ups and whatever. We're just gonna throw stuff. What's the strategy here? How does everything fit in together? How does 1 + 1 = 7, or at least 4?
Phenomenal question. Take a wild guess why I'm in Europe. I'm working with these teams right now. We're implementing our CRM system. We have the pleasure of leveraging Niall's expertise, so the CEO of Digital Motorsports. He's a senior automation process engineer at Intel. He's a technology expert. He's helping us implement this CRM. We anticipate this streamlining not only his business, but the entire group's business to integrate and be completely streamlined across the board so that we could leverage our current assets, increase margins, and simply work in the most optimistic and optimal conditions.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we got a question here. With possible acquisitions, I think he's asking, are you going to raise more capital to close? In other words, if you're talking about potentially picking up 75 million, 75 million more in revenues, is there going to be more fun? I guess he's worried about, is going to be dilution, which is the thing that everybody's worried about.
Yeah, as it pertains to financing, you guys saw the current cash balance. We do not need to finance at the moment. I don't believe our share price is in a position to finance again. We want to continue to use our share currency to go and execute on those acquisitions. And they're all accretive acquisitions. So we don't anticipate needing additional capital to service any of the current assets we have or the business that we have at the moment.
Let me ask you this. I guess, if you had to, because look, you're going to probably need to raise money to do, if you want to pick up 75 million in revenue. So the question is, would you do it at any price below $3? I hope not. Say no. $4.
Yeah, I think you just answered the question.
Okay. Jeremy is asking, do you plan on integrating any recurring subscription-based revenue with digital motorsports simulators or any other parts of the business? I get, the recurring revenues. People love recurring revenues. What's the plan there?
Yeah, so if you watch the video where Nal was on, he's already started implementing that. We're also going to start implementing subscription models, recurring revenue models into our current business. We anticipate that to really kick in 2022, first quarter. So we're working diligently on that. And it's all part of the process, getting the CRM in place, getting the teams working and streamlined, and then implementing new software, new technologies, and then adding subscription models. That's really going to drive and scale our business. So you're seeing a lot of organic growth with that last quarter. You're seeing a lot of growth internally, but once we really turn it on with software and the technologies that we want to implement, I think you're going to be pretty surprised of how fast we could scale.
Okay. So with this, right now you're 25 million run rate. Organically, that business, let's say you did nothing else. Let's say you stop there. How fast, what kind of growth do you think you can see just with the existing business? Is it growing what? Is it 20%, 10%? What's kind of with what you have right now? What's the growth internally?
I want shareholders and viewers to understand, regardless of future acquisitions, my goal is still 100 million revenue. It doesn't change. It's just going to get us there faster. So the goal is still 100 million plus, a billion plus market cap. However, the new acquisitions, new targets are just going to get us there faster. So I'm very confident in the business. We're going to continue to grow and scale. We're entering new countries, new regions, landing new contracts. It's as simple as that. We're going to get to 100 million plus with the existing business. Everything else is just extra.
Conrad, let me ask you this. Okay, so we've talked about the 100 million, right? So as an objective right now, when you get to 100 million revenues, right? Is that it? I mean, basically, you're going to retire then? What happens then? What happens at 100 million?
Anyone who knows me, it's never it. We're going to keep going. I mean, for me, that's just a baseline. That's a baseline.
I mean, is that sort of like, because you didn't want to tell people, okay, I want to do $1 billion in business, because when you come out at $1 million valuation last December, people might think $1 billion is a little bit out there, but 100 million, it's not that crazy. Is that the idea?
If you ever catch me on the street and want to go for a beer, I could tell you what I really think. But the reality is, that's my baseline. I've been saying it like a broken record. Whoever's in this journey together with me, we're going to get there. I mean, if you can't see it, I'm proving it day in and day out. The news is constant. The numbers are coming out. It's all happening, guys. The vision is not a vision anymore. It's reality.
Conrad, it's actually, I forgot that it's interesting. When you first came on the live stream, the first live stream, we always have a couple of companies back to back, with company and the CEO that was on earlier, the guy with the mining company, he actually said, when you came on, he said, I know he says, I know Conrad because he had a gym. He had a gym in Vancouver, and when you were, he said, he thought, this guy was a very hardworking guy. He'd been there every morning, like 6 a.m. Because when you were doing, I think this is when you were in high school, so before the football,
I was training. I was playing university football at the time, getting ready for my pro career. And I'll correct you on that. It was 4:30 or 5 a.m.
Right. So
And
it was very, yes.
yeah, and it was twice a day. And I mean, I've been doing this my entire life. When I set a goal, it gets done.
Okay. Yes. Listen, it's not just talk. So far, guys delivered so far. What can I say? All right. Let's see if we can get to a couple more questions. Steve TV, are they going to be involved in F1 esports competitions?
So we'll have to wait and see on that one, but definitely one of our targets. Let's put it that way.
Okay, so Rick Brace, Vincent is asking with Rick Brace. Oh, what about? Oh, he's asking, is Rick Brace coming on the live stream? Is he? Would he come on the live? He's a director right now.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is he? What's his role exactly? Like, how involved is he as a director? And maybe for anybody that's new, maybe just give us a quick background on who Rick is.
Yeah, no, I highly encourage everyone to really go on Google Rick Brace. In my eyes, he's a legend in Canada. You know, he was the president of Rogers. He helped develop TSN, the ESPN of Canada, CTV. He's landed almost every international contract you could think of: MLB, NBA, Olympics, etc. I mean, he's a guy that has delivered over his career for over 40 plus years, and he was fortunate to build Rogers to a 30 billion market cap. I think that speaks for itself. As it pertains to his role, he's actually very active. He helps me with a lot of the operational stuff whenever I have a question, high level. He's always there to support. I think his role is going to increase now as we're scaling globally, and he's going to really open up his Rolodex, and we're going to be able to execute on some larger scale contracts in collaboration with him. But he's been unbelievable. Quite frankly, I've been surprised of how eager he is to get involved with the whole deal and just how supportive he's been.
Okay. Question about, okay, so the WPG, that's the company that's doing like, what do they do, 14 million revenue run rate. So Jeremy's asking, was there a finder's fee? He's got a question about the finder's fee paid on that acquisition.
Sure. So a finder's fee typically gets allocated to the individuals that help find the acquisition target. So it could be a M&A firm, legal, etc. So typically there's anywhere from 1 to 3, even up to 4 or 5 groups involved. So that fee is potentially split up between all those groups.
Okay. Jeff's asking, okay, any plans for uplisting in the US 12 to 18 months? 12, that's a long time out, but what to throw out?
I'm laser focused, guys. I got one goal, and you guys know what the goal is. To do an uplist on the US market would be a tremendous opportunity. We'll cross the bridge when we get there, but absolutely, if the opportunity is there and we could scale, I think that's where you could take it to the next level. There's obviously a lot of liquidity on the US exchange, on NASDAQ, so it's definitely something we're going to look at.
Yeah, I mean, I think once you get to like 100, once you get to that 100 million, then it would be time to look at the US. I mean, until then, Canada has plenty of, you don't need to be on NASDAQ until then, I think. So you got plenty of, runaway here. Okay, so this guy, question, okay, great goal. Okay, so what could go wrong? What concerns do you have? What could go wrong? Okay, the goal is, again, a short-term goal, 100 million revenue. That's not the end goal. That's not just short-term. That's the short-term milestone. What could derail these plans? I mean, I don't know. You want to go through a laundry list? Asteroids, whatever. Wars. Viruses.
I think the best way to put it. Think about this. We just got through COVID, one of the biggest, call it, viruses or pandemics in my lifetime, and we just posted a 500% increase last quarter. So clearly we're well adept for that type of situation. Our business is growing actually exponentially in a pandemic. To further that, how do we mitigate that? As I mentioned earlier in the discussion, we're pursuing 3 to 5 year long-term contracts. That creates stability. It de-risks us as a group, creates stability, creates real revenues quarter over quarter and year over year. So I think the proof's in the pudding. Once again, ESE delivered. ESE delivered during a pandemic. I listed the company during a pandemic, and we're on our way to our goals. So nothing's going to stop us. We're going to get there.
Okay. So Conrad, let's kind of wrap up on this. It's acquisition. Okay. So I think one of the big things that's going to drive the stock short term until the next earnings result is really good. Probably going to be people are interested in, acquisitions, because really it's a growth by acquisition story so far, right? So what do you have in the pipeline coming up in the next, I know maybe you can't talk about details, but like what kinds of companies, maybe what do you have coming up in the pipeline for the next, 60 days, let's just say?
We're really focused on about 3 or 4 different groups right now. We're diving into due diligence. Both groups that are at the top of the list and the 2 that we're still working on due diligence are very scalable businesses. That was the number one most important thing for us. They're both accretive. It's for us, it's about their ability to scale via technology and just scale in general. So we isolated 2 out of the 4 as the most promising because of their ability to scale globally. So I can't get into detail, unfortunately, but we have 2 targets that are absolutely a dream scenario for ESE as bolt-ons and growth catalysts for the company. And then 2 more waiting to see what happens with due diligence on the first 2. So like I said, the pipeline is so robust. I'm so confident in the pipeline. It's 100+ million, and it just continues to add on. People are excited about what we're doing. More people are calling. They're coming to us now. It's been a role reversal where groups again, can I join forces and let's build something special together? Those type of conversations are happening now. So it's completely changed.
No, so it's very interesting. So I think really in terms of from like the stock standpoint, I think once you get to probably that next deal, you're probably 1 or 2 deals away from this, like just going really the stock blowing up. I mean, blowing up in the positive way. In terms of, because at some point people, because look, the company, the reality is, I don't know if people realize, essentially this stock is only like, it's not even a year old. I mean, you're only trading for barely a year. I mean, it really just
had our 1 year anniversary. That's it.
Yeah. So it's like, and the thing didn't really get going up to like January really. So I think once people, so it's really not well known yet. It's really, even though you're coming on here like once a month, 2. It's not a lot of people know about the story yet. And I think even people who maybe it's in the background, but they're kind of. Look, a lot of people, they need to look at something and they're not sure because they want to see, can the guy execute? Let's see what happens. But once they see a pattern, and because right now you've already established a pattern. Okay, the pattern is, okay, the guy said he's going to do something. He's done it. He's executed. He's delivered the acquisitions. He's delivered the earnings. So, but once they see a little more, like maybe another quarter or 1 or 2 more deals that are, sizable, like 10 million plus revenues, let's say you get to 50 million run rate. At that point, it's going to be that critical mass where people are going to say, wow, this is for real. This is going to be, could be a $10 plus stock. I mean, it could be trading at, 10 times revenues. They're going to, how things go. The market always goes, it extrapolates way in advance, and then it catches up. So, in theory, the stock might pop to like, $15, for, who knows what could happen. But I think that's going to be the key thing. People are going to be waiting for those, one or two more deals. It's like you're probably one or two more deals away from that, big blowout event.
I couldn't agree more. It's creating trust with our shareholders. I'm doing my job. I'm creating consistent pattern. We've executed on 3 acquisitions already. We've only been listed for a year. We have several more in the pipeline, and we're going to continue to execute. I'm going to continue to deliver quarter after quarter, and that pattern is just going to get stronger and stronger. And then, we say it all the time. This is a ground floor opportunity. This is a generational opportunity. If we continue to grow at this pace, I think viewers are smart enough to know that this is the opportunity. It's crystal clear. We have the capabilities to get this stock to $4+ It's already been there, but we have even more substance now. We can delivered even more to date. I think we're on our way back to those type of numbers.
Fantastic. Let me see. Do I have? Okay, we got a this Jeremy, overweight. Overweight ESE. Now he's underweight. Okay, biggest holding might get even. Okay.
I could answer that. Guess who bought the stock today? I'll join you in the overweight category. I bought today.
Oh wow. Okay, you bought shares today.
I bought shares today.
Okay, on the breakout, the momentum, Conrad, you're a momentum buyer. All right, which is good news. All right, so on that note, I want to thank you, Conrad. Thank you, everybody, for joining our live stream, and we will see you all hopefully with a big news announcement. Hopefully, we're going to have a big news announcement next time you're on.
Like I said, I'm going to continue to deliver, and things are coming, guys. Be patient, watch the news, follow the story carefully, and don't wait. We're building something really special here. You could take it from me. I'm buying on market. I think you guys know where we're going here.
Fantastic. On that note, Conrad, thank you. And thank you, everybody, for joining. See you on the next one.
Thanks, Jack.